If you are stuck below 130 beats per minute with your double bass, I get it. I was stuck there for years. Some days I felt like I was improving, and then the next day, nothing. I kept changing my settings, second guessing my gear, and honestly, at one point I even thought maybe I'm just not talented enough for this. But I've always loved the sound of tight, single stroke double bass drumming, so I just couldn't let it go. So here's what I didn't know back then and what I'll show you in this video. Sometimes one small tweak, the right tweak, can change everything. And here's the crazy part. When I looked at my students who were getting the best results, they were all doing this one thing differently. And actually, that's when I realized I had been teaching this wrong. So today I'm going to show you exactly what changed and how it might help you finally break through that 130 BPM wall too. My double bass breakthrough didn't come from a new pedal or a special trick. It came from something super basic. I took off my pedals and just placed my feet flat on the floor. Then I practiced moving only with my calves while keeping my upper legs totally relaxed. And that changed everything for me. Once I got a feel for that and paired it with the right pedal settings, things just clicked. I went from being stuck at 130 to hitting 180 beats per minute per foot in just a few weeks. Of course, getting those single strokes tight and controlled took more time, but just hitting the tempo, that part came actually really fast. This discovery became the foundation for my first full online course, Bass Drum Mastery. In it, I taught two techniques. Number one, the flat foot technique for slow and mid tempos, inspired by Derek Roddy by the way, and second, the ankle technique for higher tempos. Back then I thought these two techniques were two totally separate tools, but over the years I started noticing something different. My students who improved the fastest weren't using a bunch of techniques, they just had really good control. They knew exactly which muscle group they were using and when. And that's when it actually hit me. You don't need 5 or more foot techniques. You need one system that helps you switch muscle groups at the right time and stay relaxed and efficient all the way through. These days it feels like everyone online is telling you to learn at least 5 different foot techniques. Heel up, heel down, swivel, heel toe, ankle motion. And yes, sounds impressive, like the more you learn, the better you get, right? But here's the truth. Learning all of them at once is probably the reason you are still stuck. When you spread your focus across multiple techniques simultaneously, you never develop mastery in any of them. This is exactly what double bass drumming is like. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing one thing really well and practicing it the right way. And let's not forget, double bass drumming isn't everything when it comes to drumming. You've still got your hands, your timing, your groove, your creativity, and so much more. If double bass drumming becomes too complicated or time consuming, it pulls energy away from the rest of your drumming. Most drummers I work with just want to play clean, tight single strokes at 180, 200 or even 220 beats per minute. Not to show off, just to finally enjoy playing the music they love. And the best part, you don't need to learn 5 different foot techniques to do that. So now the big question, why aren't more teachers showing student results online? The reason is this: if your teaching only creates confusion, there's nothing to show. So next, I'll show you a better way where everything connects and you actually feel your progress week to week. When I launched Bass Drum Mastery in 2017, I put everything I knew into that one course. It focused on 2 main techniques: flat foot for slower tempos and ankle technique for higher speeds. That's it. But here's what I missed. I treated those 2 techniques like separate tools. One for slow, one for fast, and that was it. That approach worked for some, but not for everyone. A lot of drummers got stuck in between, not quite slow anymore, but not ready to jump to the next level either. And there was no clear bridge to help them get across. All of that changed during a conversation with my friend Simon Schilling, drummer for Marduk. He showed me his version of the flat foot technique and it had one big difference. He used his hip flexor to lift his legs, but he kept the ball of his foot in contact with the pedal at all times. That detail made all the difference. It kept everything balanced, relaxed. More importantly, it made the transition from the flat foot into the ankle technique feel natural. Suddenly, these two techniques, the flat foot technique and the ankle technique, weren't separate anymore. They were one continuous system. The flat foot technique with Simon's approach actually leads you to the ankle technique when increasing the tempo. And guess what? The student results started coming in quickly. Just a few weeks after we released our flat foot technique course inside Marthyn's drum camp, students like Warren and Nicholas were already posting wins. This isn't gimmick, it's just a simpler, smarter way to learn. These two students get up to 150 beats per minute within 1 month. Let me make this really simple. You don't need 5 different foot techniques to play a fast double bass. You need one technique that works up to around 140 to 170 BPM and another that takes over when it gets faster than that. The key here is making sure that those two techniques connect smoothly, so you're not switching awkwardly between those two. So now let's start with the foundation, the flat foot technique used by Simon Schilling. The best way to learn it is actually without pedals at first. Just sit down with your feet flat on the floor. Keep the ball of your foot and toes in contact with the floor at all times. Then raise just your heel. Now here's what matters. You are not lifting with your calf muscle. You're just using your hip flexor, that big muscle group right here in your upper leg. That's it. This approach works really well from 70 BPM all the way to 175 beats per minute. Because your foot stays grounded, it's also easier to stay balanced. You stay relaxed, and that means your speed improves more naturally. This version of the flat foot actually prepares you for the next phase, the ankle technique. So now let's compare Simon's version to the one I learned from Derek Roddy. In Derek's version, when practicing on the floor without pedals, the whole foot lifts off the ground.
What I meant by flat foot is like the whole surface of your foot hits the ground at one time, you know?
It's powerful, it's a great way to play double bass. He gets amazing results with this technique, but it doesn't give it a smooth connection between the flat foot technique and the ankle technique. Simon's method keeps the front of your foot planted at all times. So when it's time to go faster, the transition is really easy. So now the big question, how do you know when to switch from one foot technique to the other? For most of our students, the transition is happening around 150 to 175 BPM. But it's not about the number actually, it's about how your body feels. I want you to watch out for these signs. Your hip flexor starts to burn out, your legs start to feel heavy, and finally you can't keep up with the click anymore. That's when you know it's time to let the calf muscle take over. From the outside, the transition is really subtle, but on the inside it's actually a big deal. You have to relax your hip flexor and the calf muscle takes over. And that's actually the beauty of this method. You're not starting over again when focusing on the ankle technique. You're building on what you've already learned. And if you've gone through bass drum mastery, this adds even more value. Everything you've learned there still applies. This just helps you connect the dots faster. Let me share something I wish I had created years ago. A step-by-step system for every skill level, based on your actual tempo and control, not just guesswork. Inside Marthyn's drum camp, we use a simple 4-level system. It shows you exactly where to start and what to focus on next. Level 1, below 130 BPM, building the foundation. This is actually where most of our new students begin. If you can't break through 130, or if your playing falls apart when you try, you will start at the beginning of our flat foot technique course. We'll guide you through floor exercises first, helping you identify and engage the right muscle groups and establish the proper balance. This methodical approach eliminates much of the frustration drummers experience when trying to increase speed. Now on to level 2, around 150 BPM, refining your technique. You've reached 140 to 150 BPM with the flat foot technique. That's excellent progress. Now it's time to refine your execution. You'll move into the intermediate section of our flat-footed knee course, where we help you internalize this technique, particularly how to keep the front of your foot relaxed while maintaining stability at higher tempos. Now it's time for level 3, above 170 BPM, mastering the transition. Once you're consistently hitting 170 and beyond with your feet, we shift your focus. Now you'll begin our ankle-to knee course, learning how to smoothly switch muscle groups, maintain relaxation and control your foot movement even at faster tempos. And this is precisely where most online tutorials fall short. Here in our drum camp, we break down the process step by step with clear guidance on how to make this critical transition. And finally, level number 4, faster than 200 BPM, speed and control. You have established the foundation. You have made the transition, and now you're ready to push your limits with advanced speed and control training. This level is designed for drummers who want to play 200 to 220 beats per minute double bass patterns with confidence and consistency, better for a live performance, recording, or just when you're practicing by yourself. Here we focus on endurance, precision, and we're developing the tight, clean feel that defines professional level double bass playing even under pressure. And here's the best part. You are never training alone. There are students at all 4 levels sharing their wins, their struggles, and their breakthroughs in our drum camp. This community is a huge part of why the system works so well. You get support, you get feedback, and you get proof that others are going through the exact same journey. If double bass drumming has felt like a never-ending struggle for you, I want you to know this: you are not alone. So many drummers, including me, have hit plateaus. We all had those moments of doubt and frustration. But the good news is, most of us pushed through, and you can too. So don't give up. Keep on practicing. Keep on showing up, even on the hard days, because small improvements add up. And when you follow a clear path, you will see results. If you ever want help along the way, then I'd love to coach you as well. Just visit school.com/Marthyn or click the link below this video. Wherever you are in your drumming journey, I'm in your corner. You got this.